Well, you guys ready for some deep diving?
Oh, I'm always ready for deep dive.
For your mom.
Let's do it, baby. Deep dive into Garrick's mom. Well, boys.
Yes, boys.
This week, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Simon Pegg was on a podcast, and when Simon gets on a podcast, for those who don't know, by the way, Simon's good buddies with JJ, and actually had a role in The Force Awakens. He was He was the big alien dude on Jakku that
Unkar Plutt.
Unkar Plutt. Yep.
Yeah.
And anyway, so when Simon's very opinionated when it comes to Star Wars, and famously was actually very critical of the prequels and all that good stuff. And actually, he was on a podcast this week and made a couple of comments, said something to the effect of, "Boy, geez, I really, you know what the sequel trilogy is missing? It's a little George Lucas, a little touch of George." Which was kind of funny, especially with how hard he was on the prequels. But it sounds like he's kind of come full circle. Actually, which isn't. We've talked about. I think we talked about this last week a little bit. Actually, for the last few weeks, there's kind of been a nostalgia thing for the prequels here lately, and people coming to a new appreciation, I think. And so anyway, I just thought it was interesting that he brought this up. And even though I don't think he really called out Last Jedi directly, but I think that's kind of where his comments were kind of pointing to. And he's actually said things in the past. Here a few months ago, he was quoted as saying something to the effect of that, well, actually, JJ had something else in mind for Rey's parentage. So, of course, like I said, Simon kind of giving his opinion about things. So, I don't know, a lot of people taking it that maybe he didn't take to Last Jedi as
and you got him for our podcast, right? He's here right now.
He's not here right now, but we're working on it. I'll just leave it there. We're working on it.
Oh, good. As long as you're working on it.
So anyway, I guess with that in mind and these comments that he's made this week, I just kind of wanted to pose a question to you guys. With him talking about, Rey's parentage, and maybe JJ had a different, thought in that regard. It really looks like JJ, and we've known this since the beginning, but JJ's kind of got his hands full with this. I mean, there's been some criticism of Last Jedi, and a lot of people feel like, and I'm among that number, that really Lucasfilm didn't have a unified vision for this. They were really, the approach they were taking was, we're just going to get 3 different filmmakers and they're just going to kind of take their approach. And I think, and again, I'm among that number. Some of us didn't like the fact that there wasn't kind of an overarching story. So given that kind of background, how does JJ approach episode 9 and make it palatable and kind of bring this thing full circle and make it a satisfying how does he make this a satisfying ending to the Skywalker saga? Because that's how they're billing this movie, is the end of the Skywalker saga.
Well, what he does is he goes to Return of the Jedi, the script. He hits Control C and he goes over to the script.
Stop.
For episode 9, he hits Control V, and then he hits Control F and types in Ewoks, and then hits replace all with Wookiees, and then saves it, and then emails it to KK.
The end.
Yep. No, I kid. He would never do that.
But you know what, though, man, I maybe you're not far off, because JJ's not exactly known for story.
Well, maybe he's out to prove you wrong, Mike.
I hope he is.
Maybe
honestly,
he's heard all
the Bats versus Soups writer. So
oh yeah,
don't remind me.
So Martha's everywhere. There's the whole planet's going to be called Martha, and it's going to be a living planet, and it's going to be the progenitor of the entire universe.
Yeah. Okay, almost from day one, when Ep 7 was announced, we said JJ Abrams is good at look and feel, but story, And I think a lot of people feel like, even though Force Awakens was hugely successful. And I think generally all of us see it in a very positive light. The criticism, I understand the criticism. It was very New Hope-like, and it was very, we had another Death Star, and, we had another, cantina, and, we had, another desert planet and all that stuff. So I get those criticisms, but, I felt like it was a good launching pad. And I think that movie was, good for him, but is he the kind of filmmaker? I mean, has he shown you anything that suggests that he can bring this full circle and make this a satisfying story?
No, I haven't seen anything yet. Except for that one picture. Will that one picture give me hope? Maybe. Remember that one picture?
Did it say New Hope?
No. From episode, they had one picture leaked from episode 9, at least that I know of. I'm sure there's more.
There was a studio one with the Jedi seal or something on the floor.
Yeah, but there's that one where there was a horse and there was like Poe and Finn were out there.
Yes.
Oh, spoilers. Okay. Sorry.
I do remember that.
Sorry, everybody. Right. Poe and Finn are in the next.
This is spoiler cast.
Yeah, you're right. They're in the next movie. Poe and Finn are. At least at one point they're together. But it looked like a grass planet, like a plane, had like a Great Plains type planet. Right. That was interesting. So
yeah.
That's all I got.
I don't know. I feel like personally, I mean, because we do know through, Daisy Ridley in an interview mentioned several months back when Last Jedi was released that actually JJ had a treatment for Ep 8 and 9. Like he actually did put an overarching story together. And she is the one that actually came out and said that, yes, when Ryan saw it, he pretty much just threw it in the trash and said, nope, I'm starting from scratch. So from Daisy Ridley, that's where we got that story. So, we know that again, that the filmmakers were kind of doing their own thing. Now, JJ still got that treatment though, right? I mean, so,
yeah,
despite what RJ has done, I mean, he could tailor his overarching story to what RJ did, and still bring this full circle, and that's where I'm a little encouraged. Yeah, because I feel like when Colin Trevorrow was there, he was in a bad position from day one, because he's got all this stuff that JJ set up and RJ set up, and he was trying to bring it full circle, and he really didn't have a treatment, but at least JJ kind of had a path that he was walking. So. I felt like since we got the announcement that JJ was going to be back on this film that, okay, well, if anybody can do this, it's going to be him. I don't know. I kind of feel that way. I don't know how you guys.
I mean, it'll be a uniform with the first one, that's for sure. So it'll feel kind of like the Indiana Jones saga, or I get trilogy, because I'm not going to count the last one. Like the first and third one had kind of like a uniform feel.
I agree.
Not to discourage Temple of Doom. I mean, it was a good movie, but it felt different
in its own right. But it did. It felt very different. It had a very different feel to it. So
a different pace, different locale, no Nazis. Right. Yeah, very different. Right. So I wonder if it's going to be something like that, where people can still like the middle one. Like not everybody likes Temple of Doom. Some people hate it.
True. That's absolutely
some people
true.
think it's the best one of the three. I'm not one of those, and that's fine because I like the first and third one. But I'm hoping it's something like that. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is what happened to our heroes at one point, but now we're back to this story that kind of mimics the first one, or kind of ends the first film.
So, okay, so I've explained, why I think that he could be the right answer here, but then there's going to be the critics, right, that say like, well, look at Lost. I mean, that thing was like a train wreck, right? I mean, they had a great premise and they got it off, but then when they decide, some people would say
I only saw the first like 4 episodes, and it was about a plane crash. Did it go anywhere from there?
Honestly, I don't know, because I never watched it. I can tell you my wife loved that series, but even she will admit that it was they got off to a great start, but it felt like that once it was a hit and they had to do more seasons, like they didn't have like a landing spot. So it kind of didn't feel satisfying when they got to the end of that. And so that's the criticism, I guess, of JJ, is that he's not, he's not one for story, like to tell a full story. So I don't know what to believe, I guess.
He just falls off the end at the end. He's like, we'll just end it somehow. We'll have a crazy CGI monster come out.
I'm just sitting here trying to think how I don't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do.
Well, I mean,
it feels like anything that you do would be either, seen as, like you're trying to just stick it to Rian Johnson,
right,
or you're going down a path that may not make sense, or I just don't know, or it just seems so out there that you're like, okay, well, that was weird.
See, I agree 100% because you're right. The people that I know, I put the internet aside, because on the internet you've got the lovers and the haters, and there's just no middle ground at all. So I'm thinking more of the people that I know here locally that really love that movie and why they love it and all that stuff. And a lot of it was the reasons that they cite was that, RJ was subversive and it was surprising and it was new and the franchise needed that to go in, to go into the future and all that stuff, which I disagree with all that stuff personally. But I mean, there's definitely a love there for among a certain segment of the fan base that really love that movie. So I kind of going down what you're saying is that, does JJ go with his gut and bring this back around to what his original vision was,
but
and
might
bring it to an end?
Risk the look of it being, like you're just being childish.
Yes, and pissing off people that really, really enjoyed RJ's version of this. See, and again, and I go back to the criticism of, to me, this falls on KK, because she's, the top of the ladder there. But this is the shit you get into when you don't have a unified vision for this. Yeah. I just really, really feel like that there should have been, that whoever did it, whether it was all, 2 or 3 filmmakers or just one or whoever, that there needed to be an outline, for, okay, this is our starting point and this is our landing point. Now you guys fill in the blanks. And they just didn't do that. And I just think that they set these filmmakers up for failure, for lack of a better word.
I mean, yeah, and really, I'm surprised JJ took this on. So I feel like there's some kind of back deal that was there. But
RJ failed. I mean, it was moderately successful.
No, it was absolutely successful. Here's the thing about JJ or RJ, at least from my perspective, I don't blame him for any of this because I think he did exactly what he was told he could do. I feel like KK came to him, Lucasfilm came to him and said, okay, make a movie and you can make it your way. And we're going to give you a lot of leeway. And by all accounts, it was, everybody loved working with him and there was no drama on his set and everything else. So even though I very much dislike The Last Jedi, I don't put much blame on him because I feel like he did what he was given the task to do.
I mean, so to put in perspective, I guess it's kind of like if you go to somebody's house, they're going to have like a dinner. You can either tell them what you will eat or let them choose what you will eat.
Sure.
And so it's like I went to Rian Johnson's house and he decided to serve like coleslaw and curry. And I was just like, well, some people love those two things. Actually, like millions and millions of people all around the world love that stuff. Right. But personally, coleslaw makes me want to vomit. and curry's just so spicy it makes me want to die. But people love that stuff. And
seriously,
I mean, if you there's a risk to just serving like mashed potatoes and that's it. Which I guess you get with JJ.
Yeah, right.
You're going to please everybody because many people hate mashed potatoes.
Well, that's the thing is you could go you can go a safe route. I'm not sure what that exactly looks like, but you could go a very safe route, but it'll seem very vanilla.
Cake. Everybody loves cake. Chocolate chip cookies.
It won't seem exciting. And I think one of the great things about both the original trilogy and F3 was they were kind of very exciting ends to the trilogies,
right?
That they represent. And so if you go safe and vanilla, it's not going to be that. It's going to be, that was a movie.
Right.
You did the best you could.
I don't envy him.
Kind of
I don't envy him at all with this task.
So if you start breaking out into something more exciting, then you're risking, because of how everything's played out, you're risking, upsetting, one of two groups of people that I'm just.
And I guess at some point he's just going to have to pick a path and go down it. Yeah. It is what it is. So, no
matter what comes out of this, I'm not going to blame JJ for anything.
No.
If he comes out with an amazing movie, then I'm like, well, good on you.
And I'll tell you what, that's why I'm not going in with high expectations. I'm just not. I guess in the back of my mind, I'm hoping, that I'll be pleasantly surprised, but this is such a monumental task, in my opinion, to bring this full circle and to satisfy the greatest number of people, because you're never going to satisfy everybody.
No,
it's just never going to happen. So, but how do you get the largest group of people possible to be satisfied with what you do here? And I don't know, it's tough. They in my opinion, they made a couple of wrong turns.
This is definitely, it's one of those things where you go to a restaurant and you sit down and you're like, this is just terrible. And it's not any one person. It's just run terribly. It's management is the problem. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like has been with these. It's and it's really, I don't understand how you can have a treatment like what JJ did and then go so far away from it. It feels, I'm assuming that, that's management.
Well, totally. But that's, in retrospect now, in hindsight, knowing what we know now, that's Rian Johnson's MO. We've heard interviews with him, from years ago saying that, he feels like he's done his job if he, displeases half of his audience. Because to him, that's an exciting thing. If at the end of the day, people are talking about his movie or whatnot. Now, I don't think he was ready for the kind of divisiveness that this brought after Last Jedi. But that they should have known that, I guess, going in that's what he was going to do.
It must have been that's what they wanted for some reason.
Well, again, I really feel like KK's vision for this, first off, and I think we said this before, I don't think she really cares about story and characters and all that stuff. She is a competent businesswoman, but I don't think she cares about Star Wars and Star Wars stories the way that George Lucas does. I think that's just a fact. So I'm not. That doesn't take away
on the business side,
right? That doesn't take anything away from her ability and competence.
That's not fair though, because you can't compare anybody to Lucas.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I think one of the bigger mistakes is when Lucas was out, they didn't have a replacement that handled that part of the business.
Well, I felt like he thought she was competent enough to handle it, but there was never going to be anyone to be able to replace him in terms of the creative side of the business. So, but back to your point, she's just not that creative force. And I think her vision going into these movies was, I'm going to give the filmmakers their opportunity to go in and just make the movie that they want to make. I think she thought in her mind that was the best approach.
But that seems very, what do I want to say? You've been in the business long enough that seems like you would not have made that kind of a mistake.
Yeah,
you have to hire somebody. You're the business side. You're running the business of it all. You have to have some kind of a replacement that would come in and be able to, I'm going to run the story part of it.
Sure. Well, I think if we go way back to the very beginning, when they first talked to JJ, actually they wanted JJ to be involved with all three movies. And if you remember, famously he said, I'll do one.
Right.
And that's it. So I think that at that point, that's where they were forced to look at RJ. So maybe initially she did have, the sense and the wherewithal to say, okay, we want someone to come in here and kind of oversee the creative side of things. But once JJ, was like, nah, I'll do one.
I'm sure she's got tons of people in her ear.
Sure.
And maybe was convinced by.
At some point, she thought it was a good idea. I think in hindsight and retrospect.
Oh, it's so easy to talk about this in hindsight and say,
I know. Well, and here we are, a couple guys, two, three guys in a basement yapping about this. So, I mean, these are just our opinions, but yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, other than waking up from a dream, what do you do with episode 9?
Yeah.
Well, I think first off, I mean, if we're going to dig into this a little bit, first off, you can't do the same thing where, RJ picked up right where the last one left off.
There's got to be at least 5 years in between.
Minimum, absolute minimum. I'd love to see 10 years.
Yeah, I would too. But it'd be hard to age everyone 10 years and make it
it'd be easier to say.
Believable. Sure.
Yeah. It's going to start off with Princess Leia's funeral.
Yeah, well,
that's how the movie's going to start.
You would think. I don't know. They said they're going to use footage. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
Flashbacks. Would have to be flashbacks then.
I don't know.
I don't know. Either.
Flashbacks. That'd be cool.
That's the other. I don't know.
Bring in Maul.
Too much criticism.
Yeah, bring in Maul. Oh, he died. He's dead.
He's dead. Obi-Wan killed him.
Yeah, again.
But he's going to come back with a different head.
Ooh.
Sith Ghost. Hey, we're going to have Jedi Ghost.
The whole movie. The whole movie is taking place in the realm where the Force ghosts are
in between. The
in between.
Oh yeah. That's where they all hang out.
I don't think JJ has the balls to pull something like that off.
No, I don't think it would work well on the big screen either.
Honestly, I thought RJ. If anybody was gonna dick around with time and all that stuff, it was gonna be RJ. I was horribly mistaken.
maybe they'll do a Jeremy Bear Me.
Oh, yeah. Jeremy Bear.
So definitely they're going to start this minimum 5 years.
Everybody should be watching The Good Place.
Yeah,
everybody.
If you're not watching The Good Place, you're in a bad place.
I don't know what that means.
You said too much already.
Oh, yeah.
It's a spoiler cast. Go ahead, just spoil it all.
It's the best sitcom. Oh. Are they?
I don't even know if it's a sitcom. Anymore? What is it? It's like
what are comedies that are not sitcoms that are like 30-minute prime time,
single camera? It's not even a drama. It's just like a comedy, I guess. Just a comedy, straight up comedy, supernatural comedy. There you go.
A supernatural comedy.
Yeah,
it's not a
with Ted Danson. And
learning to floss.
And he's dancing. Floss. Ted Danson is dancing.
Yep. Yeah. Anyways, back to.
So anyway, So F9, it definitely has to take place later. You got to assume that. I mean, Rey ran off with the books, so you got to assume that she's going to use the books, and that she becomes the teacher. She starts teaching the next generation.
I think the first question is Luke really dead? Which I think
absolutely. I don't think there's any question that Luke's dead.
He's not. He became one with the Force,
and the Force is with him.
He became more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Yes, but he is no longer with us in the physical. He is with us in the metaphysical.
Well, in a sense, he's more alive because he's life itself, Mike. Life itself.
What if Luke becomes the Force? What if he is the Force?
He is the Force.
See, I've told you, man. I really feel like if you wanted to give Luke his big moment, you should have done it in 8, because now that he's dead, that's gonna be one of the things that will disappoint me if suddenly he has this big monster moment. Where he, all powerful Jedi. It's like, well, he's friggin' dead, man. He already
passed the torch, man. Passed the Rey.
Right, exactly.
Don't diminish her coolness.
So this has to be a movie strictly about
It's got to be Rey and Kylo. I mean, it's their story, right?
Yeah.
So
you got Rey, Kylo, and Poe, and
we killed off the old characters. So you got to do something with them. This movie's got to be mainly about them. You can't have this big Luke moment where he's going to usurp any of their mojo in this. In my opinion, you got to make this. You got to bring this to a close.
You know, it'd be cool if she trained like some elite Jedi to go down and hunt the Knights of Ren. And they just like hunt them down. That'd be cool.
So this starts with her in some kind of training facility with.
I think that's what people are assuming. Which, again, I mean, he still has to. He's got to address the Mary Sue thing. The fact that she's just been all powerful. She's absolutely Mary Sue, dude. I mean, come on. So
is Luke.
No,
it's different, dude.
He grew up and he on a farm and he learned how to fly, bullseying womp rats in his T-16 back home and, flying through the canyon, all that stuff.
They used the Force to shoot a missile into a tiny hole.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. With the help of his Jedi sage, she had none of that. Luke didn't train her, man. And Force Awakens.
That feather. Or leaf.
Okay, go back to Force Awakens, man. She literally had never flown a big starship like the Falcon and was an ace pilot.
She had experience on Jakku, bro.
Doing what?
Simulations. She flew simulations. It's in a book.
Swoop ops, man.
No, actually,
she cross-classed, but she dumped all her skill points.
I don't know how many people know this, but actually, I have heard or read somewhere that actually the idea that she
used her force point,
all her force abilities from when she was captured by Kylo Ren. And they had their little moment where she started calling him out, saying that, "Oh, I see inside you, and you're the one that's scared," and blah blah blah. That when that happened, essentially she downloaded all his force abilities into her brain, and that's why she can do.
Are they in the Matrix?
Supposedly, that's in the book.
Is she an agent? She Agent Smith,
dude.
Or is she Neo?
Come on,
she's Neo. Right?
Don't tell me she's not a Mary Sue because
I don't think so.
Dude, totally, man. I mean, literally. So she's on Jakku one day, and the next day she's fighting a powerful Sith in a lightsaber battle and defeating him.
Botch.
Yeah, he botched. Did you not see his roll? He could barely beat Finn. And
he rolled
dumb.
6 ones.
They've got to address that issue. Why that?
Well, he got shot by a bowcaster. He's using all his forces to keep his stomach in.
That's true.
But those things do like 5d6.
The real question is Rey and Kylo going to get in bed together?
I know a lot of people think that's happening too.
I'd watch that. Make little Jedi Sithy babies. That's how you bring balance to the Force.
And then they find out they're related.
Oh,
see, man, this gets so convoluted.
Now you're getting gross, Howie.
Well, that's what you pay me for.
That's right. That's right.
All this gets so convoluted. It seems like the satisfactory end of this is
everybody dies.
I don't know how he does it, man. I really don't. This is such a mystery to me. I know everybody's out there predicting and all this stuff, and I can't even begin to start predicting. I can get some of the basics.
Do you think we'll get
talked about?
You think our first trailer will be at Celebration, or will they drop something like a teaser before that?
Good question. When is that? April?
Yeah, April.
That seems reasonable.
Seems kind of late though, doesn't it?
Well, comparatively speaking, yeah, because during Force Awakens we had a trailer drop Thanksgiving weekend, right?
Ooh,
Black Friday.
Are you saying we're getting one this weekend, Mike?
No,
That's what you're saying. I mean, last we got teasers, one. Though. We should have reviewed it.
Teasers, right?
we got a teaser. But it wasn't until the following, probably April, May, that we got an actual trailer, or at least a teaser.
If I remember correctly, the Solo official trailer came out a week before the movie, right? Is that how that broke down?
That's right.
At Target.
Yeah, you had to go to Target, to the electronics section to watch it.
I mean, if we're talking April, that's a full 7 months before, 6-7 months before the movie's released. That still seems early.
I think they put it in April just so they could release the final trailer.
They do a teaser at Celebration. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll get our first.
They might really hold their cards close.
They have. They totally have.
We don't even have a title yet. We're a little bit shy of a year out. And we don't have a title. Kidding me?
The Next Jedi.
The second to last Jedi.
Jedi Next.
I like it.
Pentultimate Jedi.
Ooh, that rolls off the tongue. Right there.
Should be a book.
I think Lucasfilm was lucky that they got, the Cassian thing and they got the Mandalorian and
I'm psyched for those.
And things to keep people off.
Movies can suck it.
Focusing on Ep9.
I'm all about the D play now.
I think they're going to keep this Ep9 stuff under very close wraps until the last second.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to know much about it at all.
It's going to be a musical.
Rodgers and Hammerstein doing it?
Yep.
Yes. I hate to say it, guys, but I'm so not holding my breath for Ep9.
That's good because you'd probably die if you held your breath for over a year.
Well, and this is, I'm not sure. I actually think this might be a bad thing that we're not getting any information from Ep9, really.
No, it's all good.
I think
actually I prefer it that way. I don't want to know anything until I walk into the
It's weird we're not getting any leaked pictures like we did last time where we saw the whole movie before it even came out.
I feel like nobody's excited about it because we're not getting anything on it. So they're all like,
well, there's so much other exciting stuff going on with the TV shows. I feel
you think that drone guy's out there like, I could totally get some Star Wars.
But no, I mean, before we had tweets from JJ, with little pictures and snippets, and
they should put bring Ron Howard in. He was posting pictures every day. Here's my lunch. Here's my shoe.
That stuff got me excited.
Here's a piece of trash I found on the curb. I'm throwing it away.
I'm like, yeah, Star Wars.
Oh, here's a Wookiee. Wait, a Wookiee? What? Wow.
Yep. Well, do we have anything more to say?
No, it just feels like I said, I think JJ's got his hands full with this. And on a personal note, it's hard for me to get real excited, man. I hope I'm so wrong. I'm praying I'm so wrong. I'm praying I walk out of there and I'm just rejuvenated and super excited.
Well, and like you said, there's so many other things to be excited about right now that you don't feel like, if you are of the mind of, I'm not sure what to expect, I'm going to kind of go with, with a little bit of trepidation, you can just focus on these other things that are real,
Well, at some point, and this is, I say this all the time, but it is what it is. And, we're just going to have to live with whatever the end result is. And, I've just come to that realization that, there's other things that I like that's going on right now. I'm real excited about Mandalorian and Cassian, and I'm excited about the comics. And, the renewed fervor for the prequels. And so there's, I'm not dying on the vine here just because of episode 9.
There's something for everybody.
There really is, man. So, even if you're part of those people that just hate the sequel trilogies and want nothing to do with them, you still got your prequels and you still got your OT. You still got things to enjoy. So enjoy it. Don't be mad and grumpy.
Stop your bitching.
Stop your bitching.
Yeah.
That's right, man.
Be a Mike.
There's a little bit of something for everybody. Even Corey.
And that's what Garrett's mom said.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
There's not a lot for Corey.
Nothing for Corey?
No.
Nothing.
Well, boys. Speaking of nothing for Corey.
Yeah. Nothing at all.
We got anything else? Is that it?
Well,